Soon as I saw the show open up with something like this, showing the natural flow or order of nature, and how our MC Junk Dog comes in and runs over that natural order, I knew I was gonna like this series, because I like stuff like that, and it kind of got me to expect some great things for them to go that far to show symbolism at the start of Megalobox. Now, I was already fully aware of kind of what to expect from this series, or at the very least from the first episode. And the reason why is because of the synopsis I read when I was doing what I will watch for, Spring of Anime 2018. Now, this episode, it did turn out like what the synopsis would say. However, I was curious to see how it would go down. And to my surprise, it actually met my expectations. Now, my expectations were saying that this could potentially be the, Made in Abyss of the season. The good series, the dark horse that came out of nowhere and has the potential to be the best series of the season. That's kind of what my expectations were for Megalobox when I first saw it on Live Chart. I can definitely say that this first episode is by far one of my favorites from Spring of Anime 2018 so far that I have watched. I've already watched a couple of shows, haven't done first impressions for them, but I do say that this is my favorite right now. Now, to get right into it, many of you might be starting this video thinking, okay, so what is it about? This might be your first time hearing about Megalobox, and you're probably wondering, what's the genres, what's it about, should you watch it? Now, number one, it is something that I don't actually normally go out of my way to watch or read. It is based on boxing. So yeah, it's kind of like a sports series. Now, hear me out, okay? As an individual that watches a lot of anime and reads manga, I don't even go out of my way to read a lot of boxing manga. I don't. I really don't. I like sports manga, but I don't really go out of my way to watch boxing. I know there's some good ones out there. I know for a fact, like Ippo, very good example. But I have never really watched one, and I saw this, I saw the cover of it, and then I saw the synopsis. I'm like, this sounds like something that I might like. It sounds very gritty. It sounds like it would be a really good story, have a good message. I was expecting good things from this, and so it's a boxing series. So if you are interested in boxing or anything like that, then you're probably going to like this. Now, even if you're not interested, I still recommend you to give it a shot, because as someone that has not watched a show like this, like boxing, I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I kind of went out of my comfort zone a little bit to watch this series. So I'm just going to be honest there. So if you've never seen anything like this, give it a shot. It won't hurt. It's like 20 minutes. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. Just give it a shot. Now, I will say right now that this series does have some form of a futuristic setting. Now, it's not like 100% futuristic, like, we have space travel for what I can see, but we have it to where our characters have, these augmented bodies, to where they have these attachments, like these metal arm attachments on their arms, which allows them to compete in a different style of boxing called Megalo boxing. Now, I don't know how far technology is going to go in this show, but judging by the final part of the episode with, the champion of Megalo boxing popping up, we can see that, at the very least for the augmentations or, the body attachments that they have, it's very high tech. It's definitely not low tier tech as our MC, Junk Dog. We see that others can have some really absurd and specialized, combat arms. So, I like the style of the boxing. It's very different, and besides just the style of it, it does make me wonder how these characters are not necessarily going to drop dead, because, they're beating the crap out of each other with metal fists. So, if you were to hit someone with a metal fist, you'd think that would probably give you a concussion. Punching someone normally gives people concussions, could potentially kill them, but with metal hands coming in, I'm just like, how's people not dying? I guess they are, because there is a lot of talk in this episode that it feels more like a blood sport, like a brutal, violent sport. It was constantly mentioned, actually, in this episode, and maybe that does have some role to play with the metal arms. Maybe that'll have an attachment to it. But for now, though, the main point of the show is about our MC, Junk Dog, being an underdog, a stray dog, someone that doesn't really have a place in the world. Now, to start at the origin, the beginning of the story, and to kind of explain to you, Junk Dog, he is someone that is not necessarily a citizen. Apparently, he doesn't have the same status as everybody else in the world right now, so he can't necessarily compete in Megalo boxing, the actual official stuff of Megalo boxing. He doesn't have that right, and so he has to compete in underworld tournaments and stuff to where, like, you know, he gets paid under the table. He doesn't have the right to get in the spotlight. And now, we see how this man has constantly been going from fight to fight, losing and throwing matches. Now, it's not because he's bad, it's just he throws matches because he could get more money out of it, and, you know, the person that's his manager gets more money out of it. So in the long run, if he wants to live a good life with money, then obviously he needs to keep throwing matches. If he wins, he won't get as much money because it doesn't really excite people since he's just so OP in the underworld. That's kind of the main point here. And Junk Dog, obviously, is someone that knows that he has a lot of potential and he loves boxing, obviously. You can see from his character, he wants to, you know, crank it up and he wants a better challenge. But every time he wants to, he has to throw a match. And you can see how it slowly weighs on his mind every time he has to throw a match. You can even see that he relieves some stress by going out on his bike and just traveling and, you know, getting his mind off of things. We actually see that twice in this first episode. So he does have a way to relieve stress. But the man, obviously, with all of this weight, eventually he's just done. He doesn't want to throw matches anymore, which leads to the final part of the first episode, to where the champion actually wants to settle something with Junk Dog, and he wants to beat the crap out of him. They want to compete in, you know, a boxing match. Now, this isn't an official boxing match. The actual champion of Megalo Boxing decided to come down to, like, this deep, dark pit just to put Junk Dog in his place. The reason why is because in the episode, Junk Dog kind of insulted Megalo Boxing. He insulted the champion. He insulted, like, his owner, apparently. I hope that gets clarified eventually. But overall, though, Junk Dog just insulted this man's way of life. And so, obviously, he wants to settle the score, which leads to that final confrontation at the end of the first episode. Now, this is what really caught my attention why I liked the episode. Because from everything that I've seen from normal series, usually the MC in a sports series, even in a sports series, they have to wait, get a lot stronger until they finally get to, you know, that final boss, the champion of that sport. And in this case, seeing this champion facing, you know, Junk Dog, it seems like he shouldn't be able to face him right now, but he's going to be fighting him in the next episode. So he's right now about to fight the in-game boss. Now, I'm just going to assume by the way stories go and stuff and writing that he's going to lose. Junk Dog is probably going to get demolished, but at the same time, I don't believe it's going to be that simple, because the way I see this series is trying to break the norm. Because, like I said, the show opened up with showing that it's trying to break the natural order of things. It's trying to destroy the flow that we constantly have seen over and over again. And we even see when the MC's driving and all that on his motorcycle, that he passes a sign that says one way, which means no turning back at this point. So maybe there might be something very surprising, and he might beat the champion in the next episode and prove his worth, and he actually might be able to compete in the official tournament of Megalo Boxing. That's what I'm going to assume. But for now, though, let's talk about the other nitty-gritty details of the episode, and that would be the visuals. Now, I'm going to be honest here. The visual-wise of Megalo Boxing is very different to what I am used to for watching anime. See, I have seen so many shows, countless shows of manga, that I know for a fact I can kind of get used to a new art style. But I have to admit, when it comes to the art style of Megalo Boxing, it's a little bit jarring in some ways. Now, it's not bad, but I can definitely see many complaining about it or being a little bit off-put from the first episode. And the reason why I say that is because it's a very blurry first episode. Now, I've seen many arguing and complaining about this already on forums and stuff, and many mentioning to me on Twitter that it's supposed to look blurry. Apparently, some were trying to say that Crunchyroll messed up these, you know, the raws and all that of, you know, this episode, and it looks blurry on their site. And that could potentially be possible, but then someone showed a comparison of the raw and then the actual Crunchyroll sub, and it looks the same. So, it seems like it's intentional. The blurriness of the, you know, series and all that, the way it looks, the art and all that, it's intentional. And I do think it works, because number one, this is kind of like homage to, you know, I think Ashita Joe, I forget how to pronounce the name. I personally have never went out of my way to watch or read that series, so if I just butchered that name, you know, you could slit my throat if you want, if that makes you feel better. But basically, this is like, paying, homage to a very iconic series. And since this is also based on older shows and stuff, I guess it looking a little bit blurry does remind me of the classic anime I used to watch in the early 2000s to, some of the stuff I watched from the 1990s. It does look like that type of style. So I do think the artistic style, it most likely is intentional, and I'm fine with that. It doesn't really bug me much, but I could see many not liking the show just for that point alone, and I wanted to make sure I addressed that. Now, when it comes to the music aspect of the first episode, oh my god. Best soundtrack yet. Yes, even better than the TG Re soundtrack. Now look, okay, I'm not complimenting TG Re, okay? That was a pretty bad first episode, but music-wise, TG usually is good. But I want to say right now, Megalo boxing music, I like it better than the TG first episode music. Just hands down. I like the music I was listening to throughout this first episode, and I can't wait to actually see the opening song. I don't think there was an opening song this first episode. I don't believe there was. So I can't wait to actually see the opening song to see how it really is, because music-wise, this show really does have it, and if that's what I could expect from future episodes when the fights get intense, oh my god, it's going to be amazing. Now, despite all that, I think the series is very solid. I think it has, a lot of potential to be one of the best series of Spring of Anime 2018. Will it be the bona fide best of the season? I don't know. I mean, there's some good things coming out this season. I mean, if we're not talking about this, we also have Boku no Hero coming out, and there are so many fans of that series, so there's a lot of potential possibility because of how Season 3 is going to be. It might overshadow this series, which, in a way, I hope it doesn't. I really hope not, because usually when there's some good series in the same season, usually series like this get overshadowed, and they're not really that popular, they're not that special, or many people don't really care about it. I mean, let's think about a recent example, March Comes In Like a Lion. It's a series that I hold very, dear to my heart. It was one of my favorite series in recent times, but it's not very popular, and in terms of, views and stuff I get with those videos when I upload, they're very low compared to everything else I upload, but I love the show. It just shows the popularity of it, that it's not really that viewed as much. It's appreciated. People that do watch it love it, but it's not that appreciated. I do hope that Megalo Box, doesn't turn out to, have the same fate as some other shows I have reviewed, for instance, like March Comes In Like a Lion. But okay, so that's my first impressions. I think it's a solid show. I'm definitely going to keep watching it, and it definitely caught my attention. Now, if you want more reviews on this series, please let me know in the comments below. It really depends. I don't know if you guys like these type of videos for Megalo Boxing, but let me know. It really depends on you guys, but I like it so far, and I can't wait to watch episode 2 next week. So anyways, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I love you guys. Chibi out.